Now starting another original tale from
Korafika
but the
Tales,
past just broke through
an
his
exclusive
window.
work from our publishing house.
A 16-year-old
narrated
boy
by Joanne.
with his eyes.
Enjoy the story.
His face, his blood, claiming to be the son he never knew existed. The woman he loves is watching. His infant daughter is in the next room. And this stranger, this ghost from 15 years ago, is standing in his living room demanding the truth. Jamie built an empire, walked away from it for family. But family just got a lot more complicated. Because Jin isn't just looking for a father, he's running from something. And whatever it is, just followed him here. Episode 2. The son who came from nowhere. The gun felt heavy in Jamin's hand. Not because of its weight, but because of who he was pointing it at. A kid. 16, maybe 17. Skinny. Defiant. Scared beneath the bravado. With his eyes. Jin stood in the middle of the living room, glass crunching under his worn sneakers, hands raised but not in surrender. More like a challenge. Like he was daring Jamie to pull the trigger. Behind him, Amara's breathing was shallow. Panicked. From the nursery, Hana started crying harder. "Put the gun down," Amara said quietly. Jamin didn't move. His eyes never left Jin. "Not until I know who he really is." "I told you," Jin said, his voice rough, young but trying to sound older. "I'm your son." "Prove it." Jin's jaw tightened. Then he slowly reached into his jacket again. Jamin's finger tensed on the trigger and pulled out the envelope. He tossed it onto the coffee table. Jamin gestured with the gun. "Step back." Jin did. Amara moved quickly to the nursery, scooping up Hana. When she returned, she stood in the doorway, the baby against her shoulder, watching with wide, frightened eyes. Jamin picked up the envelope with his free hand, flipped it open, scanned the contents: birth certificate, medical records. A letter in handwriting he hadn't seen in 15 years. Hye Jin. His chest tightened. He'd known her before everything, before the empire, before the violence, when he was still just a kid himself trying to figure out how to survive. They'd been together for a few months. Intense, messy, young love that burned bright and fast. Then she'd disappeared. No explanation, no goodbye. He'd looked for her, for a while. Then the streets had pulled him in deeper, and he'd forgotten. Or tried to. Now here was this kid, this stranger, claiming to be the result of something Jamin hadn't even known existed. "She never told me," Jamin said, his voice hollow. "She never told anyone." Jin's defiance cracked slightly. She thought you'd be better off not knowing. That I'd be better off. And now? Now she's dead." The words came out flat, empty. Like he'd said them so many times they'd lost meaning. "Cancer. 3 months ago." Amara made a soft sound. Jamin finally lowered the gun, set it on the table. Ran both hands through his hair. "Why now?" he asked. "Why break into my home? Why not just—" "Because I tried." Jin's voice rose. "I tried calling, tried your office. They laughed at me, said you don't take random calls from kids claiming to be your son." His hands clenched into fists. "So I found where you lived. And I came. By breaking my window. I didn't know how else to get your attention. Fair point. Terrible execution." Jamin looked at Amara. She was staring at Jin with an expression he couldn't read. Not anger. Not fear. Something softer. "He's just a kid," she said quietly. "A kid who broke into our home. A kid who just lost his mother." The words hit harder than they should have. Jamin looked at Jin again. Really looked. Saw past the defiance, past the bravado. Saw a 16-year-old boy who was absolutely terrified. "Where have you been staying?" Jamin asked. Jin's jaw worked. Around. Around where?" "Shelters, streets, couple friends' couches." He shrugged like it didn't matter, but his eyes betrayed him. Amara shifted Hana to her other shoulder. "You can't send him back out there." "Amara..." "Jamin..." She met his eyes, Firm. Final. He's 16. He's alone. And if what he says is true, he's your son. We don't know that for sure. Then we get a paternity test. She looked at Jin. Would you be willing to do that? Jin nodded immediately. Yeah, whatever you need. Jaemin's mind was spinning, trying to calculate the angles, the risks, the implications. He just rebuilt his life, just found peace, just made things work with Amara and Hana. And now this. But Amara was right. If this kid was his son, and everything in Jaemin's gut screamed that he was, then he couldn't just throw him back onto the streets. Okay, Jaemin said finally. You can stay, tonight. We'll figure out the rest tomorrow. Jin's shoulders sagged with visible relief. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Jaemin's voice was hard. You're sleeping on the couch. You don't touch anything. You don't go anywhere without telling us. And if you try anything, I won't. You better not. Amara handed Hana to Jaemin and moved toward the kitchen. I'll get him some food. Jin watched her go, then looked at Jaemin, at Hana. She's beautiful, he said quietly. Jaemin looked down at his daughter, at her dark, serious eyes, her tiny, perfect face. Yeah, she is. How old? 6 months. Jin nodded, then softer. I'm sorry, for breaking in, for scaring you. He trailed off. Just what? Just didn't know what else to do. And in that moment, Jaemin saw himself, 15 years ago. Desperate. Alone. Making bad choices because they were the only choices he could see. We'll figure it out, Jaemin said. Jin's eyes met his. Hopeful. Uncertain. Okay. Later, after Jin had eaten and crashed on the couch, Jaemin and Amara sat in their bedroom. The silence was heavy. You believe him, Amara said. Not a question. Yeah. Because of the letter? Because I remember her. Jaemin exhaled slowly. Haye Jin. She was. We were kids, stupid kids. I didn't even know she was pregnant. Would it have changed anything if you'd known? He thought about it. I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. I was barely surviving myself back then. Amara was quiet for a moment. Then, he looks like you. I know. Same eyes, same intensity. I know. She shifted closer, her hand finding his. What are we going to do? Get the paternity test. Make sure. He looked at her. And if he's mine, then we figure it out, together. You sure about that? No. She smiled sadly. But what choice do we have? You can't send a 16-year-old back to the streets. Even if it complicates everything? Even then. He pulled her close, pressed a kiss to her forehead. I love you, he said. I love you too. She pulled back slightly. But Jaemin, we need to know what he's running from. What do you mean? He's scared, really scared. It's not just about losing his mom. Amara's eyes were serious. He's running from something. And whatever it is, it might have followed him here. Jaemin's jaw tightened, because she was right. He'd seen it in Jin's eyes, the way he kept looking at the door, the way he'd flinched at every sound. Jin wasn't just looking for a father. He was looking for protection. And that meant danger was coming. Morning came with questions. Jaemin woke early, the weight of everything pressing down on him before he'd even opened his eyes. He checked on Hana, still sleeping peacefully, then moved to the living room. Jin was awake, sitting on the couch, staring out the window at the city. He looked even younger in the morning light. You sleep? Jaemin asked. Jin shrugged. Some. Jaemin moved to the kitchen, started coffee. You want some? I'm 16. That's not an answer. Jin almost smiled. Yeah, okay. They sat at the kitchen island in silence, drinking coffee, two strangers connected by blood and circumstance. Finally, Jaemin spoke. Tell me about her. Your mom. Jin's hands tightened around the mug. What do you want to know? Everything. Start at the beginning. So Jin did. He told him about growing up in a small apartment in Queens, about Hye-jin working 2 jobs to keep them fed, about how she never talked about his father, just said he was someone from another life. He told him about school, about being good at math, about wanting to go to college someday. He told him about the cancer, how it had come fast, how she'd fought, how in the end it hadn't been enough. She told me about you 3 days before she died, Jin said, his voice cracking. Said I had a father. Said you were. Complicated. But that you were a good man underneath everything. Jaemin's throat tightened. She said that? Yeah. Jin looked at him. Was she right? I don't know. Honest answer. It's the only one I've got. They sat in silence again. Then Amara appeared, Hana in her arms. She'd clearly been listening from the hallway. Good morning, she said softly. Jin stood immediately. Morning. I can go if you want privacy. Sit, Amara said, not unkind, just firm. He sat. She settled Hana in her high chair, then turned to Jin. We're getting a paternity test today. There's a clinic that can do it quickly. Are you okay with that? Yeah, of course. Good. She looked at Jaemin. I already made the appointment. 10 a.m. He nodded, grateful she was taking charge, because his brain was still trying to process. Hana babbled, reaching for Jin with curious hands. Jin looked at her, hesitant. Can I? He asked. Amara nodded. Gently. Jin moved closer, letting Hana grab his finger. She squeezed, her tiny hand wrapping around it, and something in Jin's expression cracked open. She's so small, he whispered. She won't be for long, Amara said. They grow fast. Jin kept his finger still, letting Hana explore. I never had siblings. You do now, Jaemin said. The words were out before he could stop them. Jin looked up. Surprise, hope. If the test comes back positive, Jaemin clarified. Right, yeah. Jin pulled his hand back carefully. Of course. But the hope didn't leave his eyes. The clinic was sterile and efficient. They sat in a private room while a technician swabbed Jin's cheek. Then Jaemin's. Results in 48 hours. The technician said. 48 hours. 2 days to know for sure whether Jaemin's carefully rebuilt life was about to get infinitely more complicated. On the drive home, Jin was quiet, staring out the window. You okay? Amara asked from the passenger seat. Yeah, just thinking. About? What happens if it's not a match? Jaemin glanced at him in the rearview mirror. What do you mean? I mean, where do I go? I don't have anywhere else. Amara turned in her seat. Jin, we're not going to throw you out, regardless of what the test says. But, no buts. Her voice was gentle but absolute. You're 16. You just lost your mom. Even if Jaemin isn't your biological father, we're not sending you back to the streets. Jin's eyes filled with tears. He blinked rapidly, trying to hide them. Thank you, he whispered. Jaemin's chest tightened, because Amara was right. Test or no test, they couldn't abandon this kid. But that didn't mean he wasn't terrified of what came next. That afternoon, while Hana napped and Jin showered, Jaemin called Minjun. I need you to look into someone, he said. Who? Hyejin Park. Died 3 months ago. Cancer. Had a son. 16 years old. Name's Jin. There was a pause. Boss? You want to tell me what's going on? Not yet. Just find out everything you can. Where she lived. Who she associated with. Any trouble she might have been in. You think the kid's lying? No, I think he's scared. And I need to know why. On it. Jaemin ended the call just as Amara appeared in the doorway. You're investigating him, she said. I'm protecting us. He's just a kid. A kid who showed up out of nowhere, who broke into our home, who's clearly running from something. Jaemin met her eyes. I have to know what we're dealing with. Amara's expression softened. I know. I feel for him. So do I. But feeling for him and being smart are two different things. She moved closer. When did you get so careful? When I had something to lose. She kissed him softly. We'll figure it out. Yeah, we will. But even as he said it, Jamin felt the weight of old instincts stirring. The ones that had kept him alive in a world where trust was currency and mistakes were fatal. He'd walked away from that world. But he hadn't forgotten how to survive in it. The 48 hours felt like 48 years. Jin integrated into their routine with careful politeness. He helped with dishes, played with Hana, stayed quiet when Jamin worked. But the tension never fully left, because they were all waiting. On the morning of the second day, Jamin's phone rang. Minjun. He answered in the hallway, away from Jin and Amara. Talk to me. Heejin Park was clean. Worked as a nurse. No criminal record. No debts. Nothing suspicious. Minjun paused. But her son is a different story. Jamin's grip on the phone tightened. What did you find? 6 months ago, Jin got tangled up with a crew in Queens, small-time dealers. He was running errands for them. Nothing major. Just enough to make some cash. And one of the deals went bad. A buyer got shot. Not by Jin. He wasn't even there when it happened. But he was connected. And the guys who run that crew don't like loose ends. Jamin's blood ran cold. They're after him. Maybe, hard to say. But he disappeared around the time his mom died. Went underground. Which suggests he's scared of something. Or someone. Yeah. Jamin closed his eyes. Does anyone know he's here? Not from what I can tell, but if he used his real name at any shelters or clinics. Minjun trailed off. They could track him.
Before you continue, you have 2 choices right now. Keep listening to short previews, or unlock the full stories. You get 30 complete stories, over 30 hours of exclusive audio, no ads, no interruptions. Listen anytime, anywhere. Scan the QR code on the screen now, or click the pinned link in the comments. What was never said continues there.
It's possible. Damn it. Boss, what do you want me to do? Jamin thought fast, put eyes on the building, subtle, and run backgrounds on everyone in that Queen's crew. I want names, faces, known associates. You think they'll come for him? I think if they do, I want to be ready. Copy that. The call ended. Jamin stood in the hallway, his mind racing. He'd been right. Jin wasn't just looking for a father. He was looking for protection. And now Jamin had to decide how far he was willing to go to give it to him. He found Jin in the living room, playing with Hana. The baby was laughing, reaching for Jin's face, and Jin was smiling. Really smiling. For the first time since he'd arrived. Amara was watching from the kitchen, a soft expression on her face. Jamin cleared his throat. They both looked up. We need to talk, he said. Jin's smile faded. About what? The truth. Jin set Hana down carefully in her playpen. Stood. I told you the truth. You told me part of it. Jamin's voice was calm, controlled. Now I need the rest. Amara moved closer, sensing the shift in tone. Jin's jaw tightened. I don't know what you're talking about. Queens. 6 months ago. A crew you were running with. Jin went pale. How did you... Doesn't matter. What matters is whether they're looking for you. Jin's hands clenched into fists. I didn't do anything, I swear. I was just what? Just trying to make money. Mom was sick. The medical bills were... His voice cracked. I didn't know what else to do. Amara stepped forward. Jin, I'm sorry. Jin's eyes were wild now, panicked. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come here. I shouldn't have dragged you into this. Too late for that, Jamin said, not unkindly. You're here, so we deal with it. They'll kill me if they find me. Why? Because I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. The night that buyer got shot. I was there, not when it happened, but right after. I saw who did it. Jin's voice dropped. And they know I saw. Jamin's mind went cold and sharp, calculating. Who pulled the trigger? Guy named Marcus. He's high up in the crew, connected. Jin swallowed hard. If he finds out I'm alive, he won't. You don't know that? Yes, Jamin said quietly. I do. Jin stared at him. What are you going to do? Protect you. How? Let me worry about that. Amara's hand touched Jamin's arm. Jamin. He met her eyes, saw the fear there. The knowledge that he was about to step back into a world they'd both tried to leave behind. I have to, he said softly. I know. Her voice was barely a whisper. He turned back to Jin. You stay here. You don't leave this apartment. You don't contact anyone from your old life. You don't exist. For how long? Until I make this go away. Jin's eyes widened. You can do that? Jamin almost smiled. Kid, you have no idea who you're dealing with. The next morning, Jamin made a call he'd hoped never to make again. Chen. There was a pause on the other end. Then, Kang, didn't expect to hear from you. I need information. What kind? Queen's crew. Mid-level dealers. Leader's name is Marcus. Another pause. Longer this time. Why? Because they're a problem I need to solve. Chen laughed. Low, knowing. I thought you were out. I am. Doesn't sound like it. Jamin's jaw tightened. This is personal, not business. Personal is always business, Kang. You taught me that. Chen's tone shifted. What's Marcus done? He's after someone under my protection. Family? Jamin hesitated, then, yeah. Interesting. Chen sounded amused. The king finds himself with dependents. How does that feel? Like I need information. Can you help or not? I can, but it'll cost you. Name your price. A favor. Future date. No questions asked. Jamin closed his eyes. This was the game, the currency of his old world. Favors traded like stocks, called in when most inconvenient. Fine. Done. I'll send you what I have by tonight. The call ended. Jamin stood in his office, staring at the city below, and felt the weight of old chains settling back onto his shoulders. Amara found him there an hour later. Hana's down for her nap, she said. Jin's reading in his room. Jamin nodded but didn't turn around. You called Chen, she said quietly. How did you know? Because I know you. She moved closer. And I know that look. He finally turned to face her. I'm handling it. By making deals with your old rivals. By using the resources I have. Resources that come with strings. Everything comes with strings, Amara. His voice was harder than he intended. At least these ones I understand. She flinched slightly. He immediately regretted his tone. I'm sorry. I know. She crossed to him, her hands gentle on his arms. You're protecting him. Us, I get it. But I'm scared of what this costs, of what it means. It means Jin gets to live. That's what it means. And what about us? What about the life we built? It's still here. Is it? Her eyes searched his face. Because the man I fell in love with walked away from this world, and now he's walking back into it. Temporarily. That's what they all say. The words hit like a slap. Because she wasn't wrong. He'd seen it happen. Men who tried to leave, who thought they could handle just one more thing, who got pulled back in until the old life swallowed them whole. I won't let that happen, he said. Promise me. I promise. She studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Okay. But he could see the doubt in her eyes. That evening, Chen's information arrived. Encrypted files, photos, addresses, financial records. Jamin spread it all across his desk and studied it like a battlefield map. Marcus Williams, 32. 8 arrests, 2 convictions. Mid-level enforcer with ambitions. Ran a crew of about 20 guys, mostly small-time dealers and muscle. But Marcus had connections. People higher up the food chain who protected him as long as he stayed useful. And that made him dangerous, because killing Marcus wouldn't solve the problem. It would just piss off the people above him. And Jaemin didn't need that kind of heat. Not anymore. He needed something cleaner. Smarter. His phone buzzed. Minjun. "Boss, we've got movement." Jaemin straightened. "Where?" "2 of Marcus's guys were spotted in your neighborhood, just cruising, checking buildings." His blood went cold. "When?" 20 minutes ago. My team followed them. They're gone now, but they're looking." "Yeah." Jaemin stood, moving to the window. The city looked peaceful from up here, glittering, safe. But it was an illusion. "Double security," he said. "I want eyes on every entrance, and run background checks on everyone who works in this building. Staff, maintenance, everyone. Already on it." "Good. And Minjun?" "Yeah? If they come back, I want to know immediately." "Copy that." The call ended. Jaemin stood there, looking out at the city, and felt the old instincts fully awakening. The ones that had kept him alive when survival meant being 3 steps ahead of everyone else. He'd tried to bury those instincts, but they'd never really gone away. Jin appeared in the doorway, hesitant. "I heard you on the phone," he said quietly. Jaemin turned. "You should be sleeping." "Can't." Jin moved into the room. "Are they close?" "They're looking, but they haven't found you yet." "But they will." "Not if I handle it first." Jin's expression was conflicted. "Why are you doing this? You don't even know for sure if I'm your son. The test results aren't back yet." Jaemin looked at him. At this kid who had his eyes, his defiance, his fear beneath the bravado. "Doesn't matter," he said. "What do you mean?" "I mean, blood test or not, you came to me for help, and I don't walk away from that." Jin's eyes filled with emotion. "I'm sorry for bringing this to your door, for putting your family in danger." "You didn't put us in danger, they did." Still nothing." Jaemin's voice was firm. "You're 16. You made some bad choices trying to help your mom. That doesn't mean you deserve to die for it." Jin wiped at his eyes quickly. "My mom used to talk about you sometimes. Not much, but when she did..." He trailed off. "What did she say?" "She said you were the kind of person who saw problems and fixed them, no matter what it cost." Jaemin's throat tightened. "She said that?" "Yeah." Jin almost smiled. "She also said you were stubborn as hell and didn't know when to quit. She wasn't wrong." They stood in silence for a moment. Then Jin spoke again, softer. "Thank you for not giving up on me." "I'm not going to," Jaemin said. "That's a promise." 2 days later, the paternity test results arrived. Jaemin, Amara, and Jin sat in the living room. The sealed envelope on the coffee table. No one moved to open it. "Whoever wants to, can," Jaemin said. Amara looked at Jin. "You should." Jin shook his head. "I can't." "Why not?" "Because if it's negative." His voice cracked. "I don't want to know." Jaemin reached for the envelope, tore it open, read the contents. His expression didn't change. "Well?" Amara asked softly. He looked up. At Jin, at this kid who'd crashed into their lives and turned everything upside down. 99. 9% match, he said quietly. "You're my son." Jin's face crumpled. He buried his face in his hands, shoulders shaking. Amara moved to him immediately, wrapping an arm around him. "It's okay. You're okay." "I'm sorry," Jin sobbed. "I'm sorry I didn't know. I'm sorry she didn't tell you. I'm sorry for everything." Jaemin crossed the room and did something he hadn't done in years. He pulled his son into a hug. Jin clung to him, crying into his shoulder, and Jaemin felt something inside him break open. Because this was real. This wasn't just some kid who needed help. This was his son. His boy. "You have nothing to apologize for," Jaemin said, his voice rough with emotion. "Nothing. You hear me?" Jin nodded against his shoulder. "You're mine," Jaemin continued. And I protect what's mine. With the paternity test confirmed, everything shifted. Jin wasn't a stranger anymore. He was family. And that changed the stakes completely. Jaemin spent the next 3 days putting together a plan. Not the violent, scorched earth approach of his old life. Something cleaner, smarter. He reached out to contacts he hadn't spoken to in years. Called in favors he'd almost forgotten existed. Pieced together leverage like building a puzzle. Marcus Williams had enemies. Everyone in that world did. And Jaemin found the right one. A federal prosecutor who'd been trying to build a case against Marcus's crew for 18 months. She had suspicions but no witnesses. No one willing to talk. Jaemin could give her both. The meeting was held in a neutral location. A coffee shop in Manhattan. Public. Safe. The prosecutor, Alexandra Hunt, mid-40s, sharp as a blade, sat across from him with careful eyes. "I'm listening," she said. "I have a witness," Jaemin said. "Someone who saw Marcus Williams commit murder." "Who?" "A kid, 16. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time." Hunt leaned forward. "And he'll testify?" "Under the right conditions." "Which are?" "Full immunity, witness protection, and you bury his name so deep no one can find him." "That's a big ask. You want Marcus or not?" Hunt studied him. "Why are you doing this? What's your angle?" "My angle is keeping the kid alive." "He's connected to you. He's my son." Hunt's eyebrows rose. "I see. So we have a deal." She was quiet for a long moment. Then, "If his testimony is solid, yes. It will be. Then we have a deal." When Jaemin got home, he found Jin teaching Hana how to stack blocks. The baby was giggling, knocking them over every time Jin got them balanced. "She's destructive," Jin said, smiling. "She's learning cause and effect." "Is that what we're calling it?" Amara appeared from the kitchen. "How did it go?" "It's done." She moved closer, lowering her voice. "What's done?" "The prosecutor will take Jin's testimony. Full immunity, witness protection." Her eyes widened. "He's testifying?" "If he agrees." They both looked at Jin, who'd stopped playing and was watching them warily. "Testifying against who?" he asked. "Marcus." Jin went pale. "No. No way." "It's the only way to end this," Jaemin said. "It's suicide. You think witness protection will keep me safe? They'll find me. They always find people." "Not if we do this right." "There is no doing it right. Marcus has connections everywhere, federal agents on his payroll, judges, cops." Jin's voice rose. "I testify, and I'm dead. You don't testify, and you're looking over your shoulder for the rest of your life. At least I'll have a life." "Will you?" Jaemin's voice was calm, steady. "Because from where I'm standing, you're living in hiding. Scared. Waiting for them to find you. Is that what you want?" Jin's jaw worked. "I don't want to die." "Then let me protect you." "How?" "By putting Marcus away, by making sure he can't hurt you or anyone else." Jin looked at Amara. "What do you think?" She hesitated. Then, "I think your father is trying to give you a future, not just survival, an actual future." "By making me a snitch?" "By making you brave," Jaemin corrected. "There's a difference." Jin stood, pacing. "I need to think." "You have 24 hours, Jaemin said. "After that, the offer expires." Jin nodded and disappeared into his room. Amara moved into Jaemin's arms. "Do you really think this will work?" "It has to." "And if it doesn't?" "Then we run, all of us, disappear so completely they'll never find us." She pulled back. "You'd do that?" "I'd do anything to keep you safe, you, Hana, and Jin." He cupped her face. "That's not a question, that's a fact." She kissed him. Soft, grateful, scared. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you too." Jin agreed 12 hours later. He stood in the living room at 3 a.m, looking exhausted and terrified. "I'll do it," he said. Jaemin stood. You're sure? No, but you're right. I can't live like this forever. Then we move forward. When? Tomorrow. The prosecutor wants to meet with you. Go over your statement. Make sure everything's airtight. Jin nodded. Okay. Jin. Jamin waited until the kid looked at him. This takes courage. Real courage. I'm proud of you. Jin's eyes filled with tears. Don't be proud yet. Not until I actually do it. I'm proud now. Jin looked away, blinking hard. Thanks. The testimony happened in a secured federal building. Jin was escorted by federal marshals, with Jamin and Amara watching from another room via video feed. Jin looked small in the big chair. Young, terrified. But he spoke clearly, firmly. He told them everything. What he saw. Who was there. Every detail. Marcus Williams was arrested 2 hours later. The news hit the streets fast. And for the first time in months, Jin could breathe. 6 months after Marcus Williams was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison, life had transformed into something Jamin never thought possible. Jin was thriving. Enrolled in a prestigious private school, maintaining a 4.0 GPA, and already getting recruitment letters from colleges. He'd grown 3 inches, filled out, and carried himself with a confidence that came from finally feeling safe. Hana had just turned 1. Walking everywhere, babbling constantly, and had developed an intense attachment to both her father and her big brother. But it was Amara who had changed the most. The woman who'd once run because she couldn't live with fear had become the strongest person Jamin knew. She'd watched him navigate the dangerous world of protecting Jin, never once asking him to choose between safety and family. She'd held their home together when everything threatened to fall apart. And somewhere along the way, she'd fallen even deeper in love with him. Jamin found her one Saturday morning on the balcony, coffee in hand, watching the sunrise paint the city in gold and pink. "You're up early," he said, sliding his arms around her waist from behind. She leaned back into him, sighing contentedly. "Couldn't sleep. Too much on my mind." "Good thoughts or bad thoughts?" "Amazing thoughts." She turned in his arms, her dark eyes soft with emotion. "I was thinking about how wrong I was." "About what?" "About everything. About leaving you. About thinking you couldn't change. About being so scared of your world that I didn't trust you to protect us." Her voice cracked. "I wasted 9 months, Jamin. 9 months I could have spent with you. 9 months you could have had with Hana. Hey." He cupped her face gently. "We can't change the past." "I know. But I need you to know. I was wrong. About you. About us." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "You proved me wrong every single day. The way you handled Jin. The way you protected him without going back to violence. The way you chose us over your empire, over your pride, over everything. Amara." "No, let me finish." She gripped his shirt, her fingers trembling. "I've been so hard on you. So critical. Always questioning, always doubting. And you never once made me feel bad for it. You just kept showing up, kept being better, kept choosing love." Jamin's throat tightened. "You had every right to be cautious. Maybe at first, but I should have trusted you sooner. Should have seen what you were building." She looked up at him, her expression raw and open. "You're the most incredible man I've ever known. And I'm so sorry it took me this long to say it." He pulled her close, burying his face in her hair. "You're here now. That's all that matters. I love you so much it scares me sometimes," she whispered. "Not the scared I used to be, afraid you'd get hurt or we'd be in danger, but scared of how complete you make me feel. Like I didn't know I was broken until you put me back together. You were never broken. Neither were you, but we're better together." She pulled back, smiling through her tears. "So much better." He kissed her then, slow and deep, pouring everything he felt into it. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. "I have something for you," he said. "What?" "Close your eyes." "Jamin, trust me." She closed her eyes, smiling. He pulled a small box from his pocket, One he'd been carrying for 2 weeks, waiting for the right moment. This was it. Okay, open. Amara opened her eyes and gasped. A ring. Simple, elegant. A single diamond that caught the morning light and scattered it into rainbows. I know we did this backwards, Jamin said, his voice unsteady. Had a baby first. Built a life. Survived more chaos than most couples face in a lifetime. But Amara, he dropped to one knee. I want to do this right. I want to marry you. Not because we have kids. Not because it makes sense. But because I can't imagine a single day without you. Amara's hands covered her mouth, tears streaming. You're my everything, he continued. My conscience, my strength, the reason I became better. And I want to spend the rest of my life proving I'm worthy of the trust you've given me. You already have, she choked out. Then marry me, make it official. Let me stand in front of everyone and tell them you're mine and I'm yours. Yes. She was nodding frantically, crying and laughing simultaneously. Yes, yes, yes. He slid the ring onto her finger, a perfect fit, and stood, catching her as she launched herself into his arms. They kissed like teenagers, passionate and desperate and full of joy. When they finally broke apart, breathless and grinning, the sun had fully risen, bathing them in warm light. I can't believe you proposed, Amara said, staring at the ring. I can't believe you said yes. Are you kidding? I've been waiting for this. Really? Really. She cupped his face. I want the world to know you're my husband. That this family is forever. That we chose each other, and we keep choosing each other, every single day. The celebration was immediate and chaotic. Jin walked out onto the balcony with Hana in his arms, took one look at their faces, and grinned. It's about time, he said. You knew? Amara asked. He asked my permission 2 weeks ago. Jamin rubbed the back of his neck. I wanted to do it right. You asked our 16-year-old son for permission to marry me? Amara's eyes filled with fresh tears. He's part of this family. His opinion matters. Jin shifted Hana to his other hip. I told him if he didn't propose soon, I'd do it for him. Amara laughed, pulling Jin into a hug. I love you, kid. Love you too, Amara. I mean, Mom? He said it tentatively, testing the word. She froze, then pulled back, searching his face. You want to call me that? If it's okay. You've been more of a mom to me in 6 months than anyone ever was, except my birth mom, but... He swallowed hard. I think she'd be happy I found you. Amara burst into sobs, hugging him tighter. It's more than okay. It's perfect. Jamin watched them, his throat tight with emotion. Hana reached for him, saying, Dada, and he took her, pressing a kiss to her forehead. His family, complete. That afternoon, they went to the park as a family. A real celebration. Jin pushed Hana on the swings while Jamin and Amara sat on a bench, her hand in his, both of them watching their kids with matching expressions of contentment. I need to tell you something, Amara said after a while. What? I've been keeping a secret. His heart skipped. What kind of secret? She turned to face him fully, her expression nervous but excited. I'm pregnant. The world stopped. What? I'm 8 weeks. I found out last week, but I wanted to wait to tell you. Make sure everything was okay. She bit her lip. Are you happy? Happy? He pulled her onto his lap, laughing. I'm ecstatic. We're having another baby. We're having another baby. Amara. He kissed her hard. You're incredible. This is incredible. You're not overwhelmed. With Jin and Hana and the wedding planning, I'm not overwhelmed. I'm blessed. He rested his forehead against hers. 3 kids, a wife, a family I actually get to keep. You've given me everything. We gave each other everything. They sat there, wrapped in each other, watching Jin spin Hana until she shrieked with laughter. He's going to be such a good big brother, Amara murmured. He already is. To 2 little ones now. He'll love it. Amara sighed, perfectly content. I can't believe this is my life. Good different? The best different. That night, after putting Hana to bed and making sure Jin was settled with his homework, Jaemin and Amara finally had time alone. They lay in bed, her head on his chest, his fingers tracing patterns on her arm. Tell me something, she said softly. What? Do you ever miss it? The power, the empire, the respect that came from fear. He was quiet for a long moment, really thinking. Sometimes, he admitted. Not the violence, not the fear, but the feeling of building something, of being in control. And now? Now I'm building something better. A family, a life, a legacy that doesn't end in blood. He tilted her face up to look at him. I'm in control of what matters. My choices, my future, how I show up for you and our kids. That's hotter than any crime lord persona, she teased. He laughed. Yeah? Yeah. Watching you be a dad, be a partner, be the man who chooses love over power every single day. She straddled him, her hands on his chest. That's the sexiest thing I've ever seen. Keep talking like that, and Jin's going to end up with 4 siblings instead of 2. She giggled. Would that be so bad? With you, nothing's bad. She kissed him slowly, deeply, and for a while, words weren't necessary. 3 months later, they got married. Small ceremony. Just family, and a few close friends. Jin stood as Jaemin's best man, tears streaming down his face as he watched his father marry the woman who'd become his mother. Hana was the flower girl, mostly just eating the petals and making everyone laugh. And Amara was radiant. 4 months pregnant, glowing, wearing a simple white dress that made her look like something out of a dream. When Jaemin saw her walking down the aisle, no one giving her away because she was her own person, making her own choice. His vision blurred with tears. She'd chosen him. Every day she chose him. The vows were simple. I promise to choose you, Jaemin said, his voice steady despite the emotion. Every day, every moment, every challenge. I promise to be worthy of your trust, to protect our family, to love you with everything I have. Amara's vows came through tears. I promise to believe in you, even when you doubt yourself, to stand beside you, not behind you, to love you through the chaos and the peace, and to never ever run again. Because home isn't a place, it's you. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Jaemin kissed her like his life depended on it. And in many ways it did. The reception was held in their apartment building's rooftop garden. Lights strung overhead, music playing softly, food and laughter filling the space. Jin gave a speech that had everyone crying. I didn't know my father until 6 months ago, he said, holding a glass of sparkling cider. But in that time, he's shown me what it means to be a man. Not through violence or power, but through sacrifice, through love, through choosing what's right over what's easy. He turned to Amara. And you. You took in a broken, scared kid and made him feel like he belonged, like he mattered. You're the best mom I could have asked for. He raised his glass. To family, to second chances, to love that transforms. Everyone echoed. To love that transforms. Later, as the party wound down and guests filtered out, Jaemin found Amara alone on the balcony. She was looking out at the city, one hand resting on her growing belly, the other holding her champagne glass filled with sparkling water. Happy? He asked, wrapping his arms around her. Deliriously. No regrets? Not a single one. She turned in his arms. You know what the best part of today was? What? Watching you with Jin and Hana. The way you're so present, so engaged, so completely in love with being their dad. She smiled. That's the man I married. Not the crime lord, not the empire builder. The dad who pushes his daughter on swings and helps his son with calculus homework. I'm still figuring it out. You're doing it perfectly. I have a good teacher. We're teaching each other. He kissed her softly. I love you, Mrs. Kang. I love you too, Mr. Kang. They stood there, wrapped in each other, the city lights twinkling below them like stars. 3 kids, Amara said suddenly. We're going to have 3 kids. Terrified? Thrilled. Me too. You think Jin's ready? I think Jin's been ready his whole life to be part of something like this. And Hana? Hana's going to be the bossiest big sister in history. Amara laughed. Probably true. 6 months later, Amara went into labor at 2 a.m. Jamin had the hospital bag ready, the car running, and Jin on alert to stay with Hana. You've got this, Jin said, hugging them both at the door. I'll take care of everything here. Call if you need anything, Jamin said. I won't. Go, bring home my baby brother or sister. The labor was long, 15 hours. But when their son was born, tiny, perfect, with Amara's eyes and Jamin's nose, it was worth every second. They named him Elijah. My God is Yahweh, a name that meant faith, hope, new beginnings. Jin met him the next day, holding his baby brother with such tenderness that both Jamin and Amara cried. He's so small, Jin whispered. You were this small once, Amara said. Hard to believe. He's lucky to have you, Jamin added. Jin looked up, eyes wet. I'm the lucky one. All of this. I never thought I'd have this. Well, now you do. Forever. 2 years later, their family had settled into a rhythm. Jin was at MIT on a full scholarship, video calling 3 times a week to tell them about his classes, his research, his girlfriend. Hana was 3.5, obsessed with princesses and convinced she could talk to animals. Elijah was 2, quiet, thoughtful, already showing signs of being just like his father, observant, strategic, protective of his siblings. And Amara was pregnant again. I swear this is the last one, she said, lying in bed with Jamin's hand on her belly. You said that about Elijah. I mean it this time. Sure you do. She swatted his chest. 4 kids is plenty. I'm not arguing. Good. The baby kicked and they both felt it. Jamin's face lit up with wonder. Never gets old, he murmured. No, it doesn't. They lay in comfortable silence. Thank you, Amara said softly. For what? For this life, this family, for being exactly who I needed you to be. You made me this person. No. I just helped you find who you already were. He pulled her close, breathing in her scent. I love you. I love you too. On their 5th wedding anniversary, Jamin threw Amara a surprise party. Everyone was there. Minjun, who'd become Uncle Min to all the kids. Alexandra Hunt, the prosecutor who'd helped save Jin. Friends they'd made along the way. And Jin, home from MIT for the weekend, had prepared a video montage. Photos of Jamin and Amara from the hospital, from their wedding, from every milestone with the kids, set to music with captions that told their story. He was a king who ruled through fear. She was a woman brave enough to run. Together, they built an empire of love. This is their story. When it ended, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Amara pulled Jin into a hug. That was beautiful. You guys are beautiful. This whole family is. Jamin stood, raising his glass. 5 years ago, I thought I'd lost everything. The woman I loved had left. I didn't know I had a daughter. I was alone, building an empire that meant nothing. He looked at Amara. Then I walked into a hospital room and my life changed forever. I found my daughter, got a second chance with the love of my life, gained a son I never knew I had, and built something real. His voice thickened with emotion. I don't deserve this, any of this, but I'm grateful every single day. For Amara, who saw past who I was and loved who I could become. For Jin, who taught me that family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's choice. For Hana and Elijah, who remind me every day why I fight to be better. He raised his glass higher, to the people who save us, to the love that transforms us, To the family that makes us whole. To family, everyone echoed. Amara stood, moving to his side. She took his hand, squeezed it tight. I have something to say too, she announced. The room quieted. When I met Jamin, I was young, naive. I thought love meant being safe, being comfortable, never being challenged. She looked at him. You showed me that real love is brave. It's choosing someone even when it's hard. It's trusting them to grow. It's building something together that's stronger than anything you could build alone. Her voice broke. I ran from you because I was scared, but you never gave up. You became everything I needed, everything our children need, and I'm so proud to be your wife. She turned to the room. This man, this incredible, powerful, gentle man, chose love over everything, and that's the greatest empire anyone could build. The room erupted in applause. Jin was crying, the kids were cheering, and Jamin pulled Amara into a kiss that said everything words couldn't. Late that night, after everyone had gone home and the kids were asleep, Jamin and Amara lay in bed. Best anniversary ever, she murmured. Agreed. Though I'm pretty sure I'm going to be 9 months pregnant for our 6th one. He laughed. Worth it. Easy for you to say. You're beautiful pregnant. You're biased. Completely. She shifted to look at him. Do you ever think about what your life would have been like if I hadn't come back? All the time. And it would have been empty. Successful maybe, powerful, but empty. I feel the same way. Like everything before you was just waiting, preparing me for this. For chaos and diapers and sleepless nights. For love. Real, messy, beautiful love. He kissed her forehead. You're my favorite chaos. And you're my favorite redemption story. They held each other, listening to the sounds of their home, the hum of the baby monitor, the distant sound of the city, the quiet breathing of children safe and loved. We did it, Amara whispered. Did what? Built something that lasts. Something real. Yeah, we did. And in that moment, Jamin knew with absolute certainty that he'd won. Not through power, not through fear, but through love. The kind of love that transforms. The kind that lasts forever. The end from a crime lord ruling through fear, to a father ruling through love. This is the story of Jamin, Amara, Jin, Hana, and Elijah. A family built from broken pieces. Proof that transformation is real. Tell me in the comments, which moment touched your heart the most? Comment more stories if you want another transformative journey like this one. This is what real power looks like. Not an empire of shadows, but a home filled with love. Not wealth and fear, but children's laughter and second chances. Not control over others, but the courage to choose family over everything. Jamin walked away from his kingdom and built something eternal. Subscribe for more stories that prove love transforms everything. Drop a comment sharing your favorite moment. I read every single one. Thank you for being part of this journey.
What you've heard so far is only the surface. These stories weren't meant to be consumed in fragments. They were created to be experienced from beginning to end. When you unlock full access, you receive 30 complete audio stories, over 30 hours of immersive storytelling, private members-only area not available on YouTube. No ads, no interruptions. Listen on any device, anytime. Lifetime access. And that's not all. You also get access to an exclusive private community where you can talk directly with me and decide your own stories once a week. But be aware, access for new members is closing. Scan the QR code now or click the pinned link in the comments. What was never said continues now. If you choose to enter,